peace.
But mark my words, this war will be fought not on the frontier or on some distant battlefield, but amongst us.
Honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I have another video for you. Now, in this video, I'm going to try to dispel a couple of things that recently have come out in the news. The first being is about the fire on the Gerald Ford. As you can see in my thumbnail, there's been some news agencies, and they're really not even news agencies, put out some information. Oh, Iran bombed the Gerald Ford. Well, the Gerald Ford, the Abraham Lincoln, the Nimitz class carriers are more than capable of defending themselves against Iran. Now, as far as the fire goes, yes, there was a fire on board the Gerald Ford. It was in the laundry. Okay. Unfortunately, there were some injuries to two sailors in there. I don't know the condition. It may just be minor, minor burns. But if you look at my hat, it says USS Forrestal. I did 2 cruises on the Forrestal and did some time on the USS Saratoga. The Forrestal was notorious for having fires on it. It's why they called it the AKA forest fire. And we had fires on that ship in different compartments, and the fire teams always responded and put it out the fires. Sometimes it was as minor as a trash can fire. Back then, they allowed people to smoke in the compartments some places, but it could be a chemical fire. I remember once when I was on the Forrestal, there was a chemical spill in the laundry, and so I was going forward, and the fumes from the chemicals from the chlorine and the bleaches were so strong that I had to go up on the hangar deck, up into the officers' quarters, go all the way to the far end of the ship to get down to my work compartment because of the fumes. So it does happen. Now, the second part of this has to do with Lobstergate. Now, for people that don't understand what Lobstergate is, well, at the end of the year, there's a thing in the military. It's called use it or lose it. So what happens is, at the end of the year, the next fiscal year, the budget that you don't use, the commands take it and look at it this way. We either have to use it, or there's a possibility the next year they will reduce our operation budget down. And so that's one aspect of it. The next aspect of it is the cost of the food. So I looked into this. I did it numerous ways, and I looked over it. So they said that in 2025, that the new administration, the Trump administration under Pete Hegseth, spent an extraordinary amount of money on food. And it was luxury food such as steak, lobster, donuts, ice cream machines. Well, I broke it down. I did the research. Okay. The increase in cost between the Biden administration and the Trump administration under Department of War was an increase of, get this, 1.1%. The average cost of a meal under the Biden administration was $5.80. It went up to $5.87 under the Trump administration. Now, the annual cost for troops, and this includes reservists. Now, there was a big increase in reservists. Actually, right now, there's 1.3 million active duty members, and there's been a big increase in reservists. Okay, so this is some of the standard costs. I looked into the cost of inflation. Because of the cost of inflation under the food, under the Biden administration, it actually increased the cost of food under the Trump administration. So You don't hear this. This is the food. I'm going to put a chart up so you guys can see it. Now, there's another factor that goes into this end of fiscal year cost, okay? And they didn't talk about this. When a ship goes deployed or units go deployed or they start planning operations, they're not just at last minute going to go, hey, guess what? I need to run down to the nearest vendor and pick up, 6,000 pounds of fish. No, they look at the operations, the operating conditions of these troops that are going to be deployed, be it Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and they start strategically planning what's going to be needed for these deployments. And they purchase it, they stock up the warehouses, so when these ships go deployed, these units go deployed, that they will have the food and supplies they need. Now, this is a very small portion of the overall budget for the Department of War. But like I say, if you look at the cost and break it down individually, it's only a 1.1% increase in the cost of meals. Under the Biden administration, it was $5.80 average per meal. Now it's $5.87. Now, also you got to remember, I don't care what anybody says. When you're deployed, you're standing duty, one of the biggest comforts you can have is a hot meal. And let me tell you, you may only get steak or get lobster once a month or once every 2 months. But even as simple as them making a pizza, that can make a huge change in the morale of a service member. I remember I was on the Forrestal, and we had a problem with one of our freezers, and we had for weeks and weeks, the only thing that we had to eat was chili mac for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, can you imagine having nothing but chili mac to eat, or not being able to have milk, fresh milk, and having to drink something like shelf-like milk like Parmalat, which sucks? Okay, so this is a nothing burger. This is just a political ploy for people to try to come out at the end and say, guess what, guys? Oh, Pete Hegseth trying to pound in how much money to spend. But there's one other statistic that I didn't put up on this chart. So I looked at the cost of what it is for an illegal alien to be in the United States, and I compared it over a 10-year period. And the cost of funds that it costs to support through social programs in the United States over a 10-year period is astronomical. But one of the biggest factors that was determined in this that I didn't realize, that over a 10-year period, if you have a mother and a father and whatever the children are naturalized citizen, within that family group, over a 10-year period, at least one parent stays on social programs. So you just then take that into cost and consideration, and then compare it to the cost of the food that you have to serve the service members. The service members deserve everything they get. Anyway, guys, I'd like to thank you for this video. Leave your comments below, and we will see you on the next.
Thank you for watching Bad Boats. We hope you liked this video.